This is a story about two stories that share the same story. In 1999, The Matrix came out, and my mind was blown. It was everything that I never knew that I wanted to see. It was fantastic, and it changed how I viewed cinema and storytelling forever. In 2003, The Matrix Reloaded and Matrix Revolutions came out. Despite many, including my friends, feeling that they were lackluster and not meeting the same quality and standards of the original, I thought it was fantastic and I enjoyed them. It was what I felt to be like a logical conclusion to the story that was told in the first film. Starting in 2007, I started attending the Art Institute of Seattle, and in August of 2008, going into 2009, I started creating pieces of art for an idea that I had a story for in my head that would become Side Effects. In March of 2010, I was in a production class where the goal was to create a finished piece of animation. I had written 3 scripts: If Things Go Wrong, Numsy, and Side Effects. I held on to Side Effects as I decided it was too precious to hand over to AIS kids. It was intended as the third part of the trilogy, starting with The Magic Book and What Have We Done by Bremerton Dub Rockers. The story told in Side Effects is that of the main character, Bob, who is a sad business bot. He has a pug named Danzig. Bob takes medication which visibly affects him, making him dissociate. At a data entry job in a warehouse-sized office, his day is dictated by when medication has to be taken. He refuses to take his medication. Going into the street, he sees a bunch of people that turn out to be cardboard cutouts. Bob stands on a rooftop and sees that the buildings are just movie sets. Bob becomes peaceful, and it's implied that he jumps. A lot of this was, obvious. I think obvious that I was affected by The Matrix, that, there are elements of not knowing the nature of reality and kind of the feeling of being stuck in a grind at an office day job and then somehow discovering some sort of truth. These were all things that happened in The Matrix. I was just trying to figure out how to tell a story that felt personal to me. A lot of the elements did feel personal to me because of just my own work experience and going through what I was going through at the Art Institute of Seattle. The pug is in there because my brother at the time had a pug named Danzig. The medication is in there because while I was at the Art Institute, I went on medication for depression for the second time in my life and had 2 weeks of the worst suicidal ideation of my life. I had always intended that the buildings that are seen in the shot are those along the road for AIS, and when he's on top of the building, that was actually the parking lot across from the AIS. So these were all real world things that I was relating to on a day-to-day basis. In 2011, I graduated from the Art Institute of Seattle, and from then up till 2016, I started working and moved several times. I got involved in music and film projects, leaving little to no time for Side Effects. In April of 2017, I did a new character design for the main character of Side Effects, but now instead of it being Bob, it was a transgender woman named Tattoo. In July of 2017, I started moving my 3D work from being done in Maya to being done in Blender. I had an idea for an impossible camera move for the street scene, and so that needed to be done in 3D, and so a 3D model for Tattoo was adapted from a previous model. In October of 2017, I re-scripted Side Effects, now with the intention of it being done to a soundtrack of Walk the Earth by Bremerton Dub Rockers. In that October script, I finally changed the main character to being Tattoo. The beginning changed, where Tattoo awakes from a Kundalini type experience. Tattoo wakes to an alarm that syncs with the beat of the soundtrack, which is an idea that I'm sure I had voiced to various people before putting it in the script, but this was the first time that I'd actually put it in the script. I also took out the pug. After discovering that the buildings are set pieces, Tattoo spies an oasis-like forest out in the distance. Tattoo then walked from the city, holding hands with their partner. I wanted to change the ending so that it was less pessimistic, even though it wasn't totally explicit that Bob was going to jump off the building. I wanted to be very clear that rather than choosing a nihilistic view of rejecting the world, I was attempting to do a non-dual view of embracing the world. In December of 2017, I altered the script again, this time changing the following details. Tattoo now wears a plaster of Paris mask. The cardboard cutouts are now photos of her old self. And in the end, Tattoo meets a group of people. This version incorporates more elements of externalizing feelings of gender dysphoria, and I had made storyboards for the beginning of that sequence. In March of 2018, I made 2 slightly varied shorts based on the beginning sequences of the script. That happened right at the beginning of my nervous breakdown, and much of my recovery was spent making music. In November of 2019, the script is modified to reflect that Bon Bons is now the soundtrack, and at the end, Tattoo is able to see her movements in more than the present moment of time. Her partner joins her as they move toward the group. The 3D model for Tattoo is finished and now has clothes. In March of 2020, the Tattoo character is rigged and materials are applied to it. An environment is created from Google Maps imagery. 2020 and 2021 is mostly spent working on the album The Great Emptiness. In September of 2021, the trailer for The Matrix Resurrections drops. I see it and I see so many connections and similarities with what I've been doing with the Side Effects, Walk the Earth, Bon Bons script. I ask River if they think that I should alter or stop my project, and they suggest waiting until we see the actual film. December 22nd, 2021, The Matrix Resurrections comes out. I love it. It's highly enjoyable. It does so much of what I loved from the original films and adds a new insight that is perfect for this generation. So why am I bringing up these 2 things? The similarities between the Bon Bon short and The Matrix Resurrections are too numerous to ignore. Obviously, The Matrix Resurrections has more going on than Bon Bons. In Bon Bons, there's no white rabbit, bullet time, agents, analysts, pods, robots, kung fu, or motorcycles. The similarities between the films: the main character is sad or depressed. The main character is on medication, which makes them dissociate. They both work at soulless jobs in an office. They make the decision to go off their medication. The streets are full of people that aren't actually people. They realize that the world is fake, and their suicide is implied, but not shown. And there's things that I've experienced that are in The Matrix Resurrections that are not in Bon Bons, such as me going to therapy and having a nervous breakdown. Why are these stories so similar? Is it because I ripped off The Matrix? Possibly. Or is it because Lana Wachowski and I care about the same things? Possibly. Maybe it was just luck that I happened to manage to get all of these things together in a way that would ultimately also be shown in Matrix Resurrections. I realize now that there's no possible way that I could continue with Bon Bons without looking like I had ripped off Matrix Resurrections, so I've decided to abandon the project. Like the Don DeLillo quote in The Matrix Resurrections that's on the inside of the toilet door, "It is so much simpler to bury reality than it is to dispose of dreams."